Welcome to Government Contracting Weekly, sponsored by AOC Key Solutions Incorporated. Government Contracting Weekly is the only television program devoted exclusively to the competitive and dynamic world of government contracting. A world where coming in second place is not an option, but where principle-centered winning is the only approach.
Good morning and welcome to Government Contracting Weekly. I'm Hilary Fordwich from Key Solutions. Needless to say, we in the government contracting community are working our way through one of the most difficult business environments we have ever experienced. And yet, in spite of any obstacles, many businesses, large and small, are growing and prospering. Today, you're going to meet two such companies. Our first guest is Tony Jimenez, the president, CEO, and founder of MicroTech. Tony and MicroTech have won numerous awards, and I recently sat down with Tony and asked him how he did it. Good morning and welcome to our segment of Government Contracting Weekly, where I have with us a local government contracting expert. And this morning I'm most delighted to have with me Tony Jimenez, the founder, president, and CEO of MicroTech. Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for coming in.
Great to be here.
Yes, well, tell us, because you've done so much, you've accomplished it all yourself, you founded MicroTech. Tell us a little bit about your background and why you founded the firm.
Well, I had started off working for the government, and I had been with the government for many, many years, was getting ready to leave, had made the decision that I wanted to go to work for a large company, went to work for a large company, and after a short period, realized that I really had that entrepreneur small business itch. The only problem was I didn't have the money I thought I needed, so I kind of recalculated things, did a few things that I hadn't anticipated doing, like borrowing some money and taking out some loans, and then shortly thereafter started the company at my kitchen table.
Literally?
Well, it wasn't at my kitchen table, it was in my basement,
yes.
But I kept sneaking up to the kitchen table when my wife went to work, so truthfully it probably really started in the basement.
Like a lot of companies do. MicroTech has had immense amount of successes just recently. You've received so many awards. So tell our audience about what you're doing and what has been the reason you actually have sort of, I would say, swept the carpet with all the awards in the last couple of years.
Well, I think probably the big thing is people. It's kind of got almost a snowball effect where you win some, people want to work, they're inspired by the story, you win a few more awards, more people want to come to work for the team, and before you know it, you've got a great team and you're obviously continuing that momentum because it takes good people to be able to win the kind of awards that really matter. I mean, the ones that help to differentiate you in terms of identifying you as being that kind of a quality company that people want to work for.
And I know that in the IT market, there's one of our guests has mentioned that there's a war on for talent. Would you agree with that? And tell us about what MicroTech's actually doing and what are the skills you're looking for?
Yeah, I think that's accurate. There is a war on for talent, and the best and brightest get an opportunity to pick and choose where they want to go and when they want to leave and how much they want to get paid and whether it's about the money or about the place or about the people or about the atmosphere. I think what we're doing is we focused on building a quality company. We focused on building the kind of organization that people want to be a part of and that they want to contribute to. And we focused on being able to provide the kind of benefits where people don't have to worry about what or if they're going to get paid. They have to worry about performing well, knowing that they're going to get paid and that they're going to get paid on time,
yes.
that their benefits are there and the packages all make sense and that they can focus on all the things they need to be focused on because they don't have to worry about whether their benefits are good enough or their pay is good enough or whether they're competitive because they know they are.
They know that you are. And you mentioned focus. Tell us about the marketplaces you're focused on and what MicroTech actually focuses on as a deliverable.
Well, when we first started off, we were like most startup companies. We focused on just getting a job, trying to do something in the technology field, particularly in the information technology field. And now it's hard to narrow that down to just information technology. I mean, technology surrounds us every day in every form you can imagine. I mean, it's in our car, it's in our home, it's in our phones, it's in our offices.
And the PGA actually wants to use it to speed up play, which is unbelievable.
Imagine that. So what we've actually found now is that what we have done is morphed into a much more technologically savvy company. So not only do we have the ability to do IT services, we focused on being able to provide cloud cloud support, cloud solutions, big data management, data around how we think the federal government and Fortune 500 companies, as well as small and medium-sized companies, are going to need to be able to continue to provide the kind of services and solutions that they're going to be expected to provide in the next 5 to 10 years.
So given it's a hot space, you're doing so well, how do you differentiate yourself and answer the question, why MicroTech?
Well, I think a lot of it is in the government space. It's very easy. We speak government fluently. We know the rules. We know the regulations. We've done everything we can to ensure that we have all of those pieces and parts in place. We've got the right amount of IDIQs, BPAs, and GWACs, which means that our customer can get to us without having to say, okay, well, I don't know, I like what you offer, I like what you have the ability to deliver, but you don't have the right contract vehicle, so consequently, we can't put a contract out that you can, in fact, bid on. And then the third thing is that we've got very, very innovative solutions. We've got a number of patents that are our patents. We've got a number
that you
of,
actually created, I know,
absolutely.
yes. Yeah, and you've received some awards for those as well.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Just recently got an award from Computer World for
right.
some of the things that we're doing there. And we've been able to build some very, very neat stuff that people now see as enablers.
And that's where some of your talent is coming from. I've read an article somewhere where they're reading the kind of content because you initiated it. And I guess the best talent also, you mentioned, why do they want to come? They want to come because they're going to be on the cusp of inventing something.
Well, that's what we're hoping.
Yes.
What we're hoping is the things that we're designing, developing, and implementing are things that people want to be involved with, because it means that they're not going to have to worry about their skills getting rusty, and that they're going to constantly remain relevant.
Yes.
Because what we're doing is going to open the door in the future for additional opportunities and, more importantly, for additional jobs.
Perfect. So we all know that not every small business succeeds, not every women-owned business succeeds, and not every 8A succeeds. Certainly MicroTech has succeeded beyond maybe even, I don't know, your wildest dreams. But what do you think are the reasons that other companies have failed and you haven't?
Well, in answer to your first part, yes, I pinch myself often. You know, it's an amazing story, and I'm just happy to be a part of it. I think probably some of the primary reasons are opportunities. When I say primary reasons why other businesses are having difficulty. There's only so many opportunities to go around, and it's still a very, very competitive environment. But if we didn't have those plans and those programs and those numbers that we need or strive to meet, to ensure that we do enough business with woman-owned and minority-owned and veteran-owned and service-disabled veteran-owned and hub-zone. And if those programs didn't exist, I don't think we would have the kind of opportunities for the socioeconomic groups that we need. And the bottom line is, if we're not truly investing in that group of our society, our socioeconomic goals aren't met. What we don't end up with is we don't end up with the kind of diversity that's healthy for this country. And that diversity is critical. I mean, we wouldn't be the kind of country we now are today if it wasn't for the opportunities that we provided our minorities. And the people who are minorities today weren't the minorities 20 or 30 or 50
right.
or 100
People
years
forget
ago.
who were the minorities years ago.
And,
yes.
the majority today are the minorities of yesterday and,
yes.
and 100 years ago.
That's exactly right. And it's going to flip too, as we know.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And so now what we're seeing is that as we move forward, we've got to ensure that what we're doing is investing in our future, and diversity is and has always been our future. I mean, how we provide opportunities to those who don't have them is critical to the success moving forward.
So why are some successful, some aren't?
I think a lot of it has to do with opportunity, not having the right kind of opportunities, or when they have the right opportunities, not having access to the capital that they need to be able to grow. We were very fortunate. We hit all the gates at the right time.
And was that because when you said
kind
we did, it's great because I've noticed since the beginning of this conversation, you're always including your team. Did you feel that you didn't have expertise and you brought on the right people?
Oh,
or was
absolutely.
it I mean, is that, where does that come from, that we attitude?
Well, I think part of it is my understanding that I may possess enough. I may be the glue, but I'm definitely not much more than that. And what you need is you always need a good team. If it's just you, it's going to be just you for a very, very long time. If you understand these are the 5 or 10 or 20 things that I may be good at, if you're fortunate, for me it's 2 or 3 or 4, you supplement that. It's much like ingredients in in an amazing meal. I mean, the steak is not all the meal. I mean, you've got to have the condiments, you've got to have the baked potato, you've got to have all the things that make the meal. And you've got to have all those things that add to the flavor of what you're developing and designing. And a business is exactly the same. I look around and the people that I bring on board complement what I do. And more importantly, I tell people all the time that the team, the cohesion of the team, and being able to ensure that you're covering those gaps with the right kind of people that complement each other and that leverage each other, that's where the success of our company has come from.
So it's one thing to be at the top. We've had a lot of executives on the show that have done very well, been at the top, and certainly Tony is. And Tony, what are you going to do to stay at the top?
Well, you're kind of in a vicarious position, because if you're not staying at the top, everybody assumes you're headed the opposite way. And as soon as you start heading where it's being perceived that you're heading the opposite way, you actually will start heading the opposite way, because people want to get up every morning and they want to do business with successful companies.
And particularly how competitive your particular arena is, what we talked about, the talent, you retaining those best people. Yeah.
I think that the key, though, is every day get up and try and figure out how to do it better today than I did it yesterday, because your competitors are. They're trying to figure out how to move into your slot, how to take your place, and what you ought to be doing is figuring out how to take the next guy's place. And that's an important part, is constantly trying to figure out where is the next stepping stone that leads me up, not down. And even if it does take me down a couple of notches, are there 5 or 6 or 10 more steps that'll take me up 6 or 8 notches? So the idea is constantly positioning yourself to ensure that you remain relevant and that the things you are doing are things people want and need.
So when you talk about things that people want and need, so Key Solutions is the force behind the show. Most of our regular viewers know that, providing strategy, capture, and proposal support services. So we're always interested in, and so are our viewers, as to what do you think is your key to when you need to go out and win something, the next contract?
I think the big key, once again, is making sure that you don't overextend yourself and that you're doing the things that you absolutely know you can do better than anybody else, and you got to feel it.
So focus.
Well, focus, but also don't try and do things that you're not good at, because it'll show up. You might actually end up getting lucky and winning something that you have no business winning, and then you get very unlucky because you don't have the ability to deliver it at the level that you absolutely have to deliver it, because the competition is tough, and you don't get a second chance or a second shot. I mean, once you've won that opportunity, if you can't perform, you won't win an opportunity for a very long time, and the word gets out. It's a small community.
It does. It gets out, and then a firm gets a track record of failure. In fact, actually,
and it only takes one.
And Key Solutions, I know, has a lot of times actually convinced companies that they should no bid for that very reason you're saying.
Absolutely.
So great. Tony, thank you so much for coming in this morning. Thank you. Tony is an inspiration to entrepreneurs everywhere. Next, I want you to meet Tim Lam, the president of CS Cubed, a division of Schneider, another inspiring success story. Good morning and welcome back to our segment of Government Contracting Weekly, where I have with me a local government contracting expert, and I'm delighted to have with me this morning Tim Lam, and he's the president of CS Cubed. Good morning, Tim.
Morning, Hillary.
Thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
One of the first questions, of course, for our audience is CS Cubed. Schneider is a name, but it has a greater, fuller name, and you're part of another company, and it's Alaskan oriented. So do share with our audience.
Well, CS Cube is our short name for Chenega Security and Support Solutions, LLC. And we are a wholly owned subsidiary of the Chenega Corporation, Alaska native corporation, who's headquartered in Anchorage, Alaska.
And then tell us a bit about the background of your role there, how you came to Chenega, and what the firm is doing today.
Well, I'm the president of CS Cubed, and I actually spent 25 years in the Army prior to coming to Chenega.
Part of it was a military police role, I noticed.
I was in the military police corps for 25 years, retired in early 2004 as assistant commandant of the U.S. Army Military Police School. My first job right out of the Army was with Chenega, and I've served in 4 companies now, twice as a vice president and as a general manager of a joint venture. And 2 years ago, I was selected to become the president of CS Cube. And CS Cube was formed in January of 2011, so we're a pretty young company in the family of companies.
And what are you doing? What are you focused on?
Our focus is on professional protective services for the federal client. We are a company who does armed and unarmed security. We do fire, emergency response, physical security, electronic security, locksmiths, administrative things dealing with security. And so we're a full service security provider in the federal space.
So many of us are aware of the many set-asides and special exemptions that Native Americans are granted by the federal government. But maybe, Tim, you could expand on this for our audience about the Native American Alaskan tribes and what the grant is for and regarding their socioeconomic status, etc.
Well, Chiniga is an Alaska Native corporation and was formed under the Alaska Native Claims Settlement Act. It's an act that goes back to 1971, where Native tribes settled with the U.S. government for mineral rights on their land in Alaska, particularly oil. And so under this settlement, Alaska Native tribes were given cash and also some contracting benefits, with the idea that they would form their own corporations and become self-sufficient and have a means to provide a living and to provide benefits for their shareholders or members of their tribe.
Throughout Alaska?
Throughout Alaska, yes.
In particular, yes. And then what are some of the challenges? Are there unique challenges and benefits that you've been with Chiniga for so many years and you've got a lot of experience there that you've seen over the years? Well,
it's really good working for a corporation like Chiniga. Chiniga was formed in 1974 and has grown exponentially, particularly over the last 10 to 15 years. Chiniga grew from very humble beginnings and has now grown into a corporation that owns 24 companies, is in multiple business lines that include not only security, but military intelligence, environmental, IT, and logistics. And so over the years, Chiniga has been able to give back to its shareholders, who many are based in Chiniga Bay, which is a very small village in Prince William Sound, and to funnel 100% of the profits back to shareholder education programs and programs such as preserving the language and other preservation projects that benefit the Chiniga people.
Yes, and actually sounds like it's beneficial to Alaska too, in the whole state.
It definitely is very beneficial to Alaska, and I think what we find is that our employees very much like working for a corporation that has a higher purpose and whose profits go back to benefit the people that actually started the corporation.
Yes, absolutely. So Chiniga is the first firm we've had on the show that actually has a set aside for a specific group, Native Americans. It's a great higher calling, as we mentioned and talked about. But I know you do a lot of teaming. When you're looking for teaming partners, is that also a factor, or what are you looking for in teaming partners?
Well, it definitely is a factor, and one of the challenges in teaming and finding companies, great companies to team with, is to find a company, whether it's a large company or a small business, that share our values and that is a good fit to work with an ANC, because we're responsive to our shareholders, and so at the end of the day, whether we're a prime contractor or a subcontractor, I as the president would be responsible for the quality of the company, the type of company that I bring onto our team, or the type of team that we join. And so we spend a lot of time and effort in finding great companies to team with.
Great companies. Well, I know members of our audience love to hear what the guests on our show are actually looking for. So when you say you're looking for a great teaming partner, share with our audience some of the criteria. What do you characterize as great? What is unique for you, and what really matters to Chiniga and to your principals?
Well, I don't think there's a formula to get there, but we definitely we are looking for companies who share our values, and we're looking for teammates where there's a good synergy in terms of our chemistry, and that we have the same sort of work ethic and professional ethics and approach to our business. We want companies who are comfortable working with an Alaska Native corporation. We want companies who understand that we do work for shareholders, who have a code of ethics by which we're expected to abide by. And so there's a lot of companies out there, but I think it's very important to narrow down those few companies that kind of meet that criteria, and that to really develop a relationship over a long period of time in pursuing business over the long term, as opposed to just on this opportunity or that opportunity.
And that's the best way to have a teaming partner anyway, because then it's actually time saving for the future and you don't have to keep ramping up every single time for every opportunity, I suppose.
Absolutely,
Yes.
that's correct.
Many small businesses, many small successful businesses like Schneider outgrow their small set-asides, their 8A status, and there are numerous challenges that are associated with that as they grow. And I know that Schneider has successfully faced those challenges. Do you have some advice for our audience?
Well, I think you have to consider not only winning business when you're a small startup or maybe a business entering the 8A Small Business Development Program, but what you're going to do once you've exited that program. And in our case, we've exited the 8A Small Business Development Program very rapidly within a couple of years because we've been very successful. We've won some large procurements. And a lot of that success ties back to our Alaska Native Corporation attributes in that we have access to mature business systems, to a corporate central treasury, and to staff support from a corporation that a lot of small startup businesses don't have. But more to your question, once we've exited a program, one attribute we enjoy as an Alaska Native owned company is that we will always give a teaming partner, if we are a subcontractor on a team, small disadvantaged business credit. And that's real attractive to a lot of companies because essentially you're getting a company who performs a lot like a large business, but that has the small business attributes.
Yeah, so that's the best of both worlds, really, then.
That's how we look at it, yes.
And then when you mention about you have won a number of significantly game-changing large procurements, what are the keys to winning? Key Solutions, our regular viewers know, is provides strategy capture proposal support services and is really the force behind this program. And our audience really cares about what are the keys to winning.
Well, I think you really have to understand your company and you have to understand the competitive advantages that your company brings to bear with the market.
So what makes you unique and what are your differentiators?
Right, and I'll just put a plug in for Key Solutions. We very early on have used Key Solutions several times. In fact, from capture through proposal development through win, we've used Key Solutions on a very, very important large win for us. And so sometimes you have to reach out and get that expertise to help you understand what your competitive advantage is. Once you understand that, then you have to be very selective in bidding only opportunities that are high value to you as a company where you have a clear competitive advantage, and those may be very, very few, but we have found that that's what's been successful for us. In fact, we have over a 70% win rate the last 2 years, and so we don't spend a lot of time pursuing opportunities that don't fit those criteria. And we found that has been very, very successful for us.
Then you're not wasting money, you're going after things, and also you're developing that track record where then also the government thinks you're good at everything that you do because they're rewarding you. There's companies that keep going after things and they keep losing. I'm thinking they're developing a terrible track record.
Well, you win it, and then you have to, go and you have to manage it.
And deliver.
Deliver, which builds past performance for the next bid.
Perfect. Yes. Well, Tim, thank you so much for coming in this morning and
Laurie.
sharing with our audience. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I just want to now talk to you a little bit about the very important topic of identity management. I would assume that if anybody's ever had their identity stolen, they know that it's impactful. So why is it important in terms of government contracting and the government process and everything else? Tell us about that.
So in every part of our daily lives, whether we're talking about government or industry, whether we're talking about the business component of our lives or the private part of our lives, we've moved to a very heavy reliance on the online environment for the exchange of information and to conduct transactions. Mm-hmm. To the extent that people can be anonymous in the online environment and be involved in those kinds of things, it becomes very difficult to establish the necessary trust environment between a vendor and a buyer or a seller and a buyer. Or for that matter, in a government environment where you may be sharing sensitive information. How do you know that you should share that information with the person on the other end?
Right. Okay. So we know there is an important issue and an important problem that is being addressed. What is the status of the implementation of the, say, of the remedial efforts or the countermeasures to correct the situation that you've described?
So government and industry have been trying to implement effective identity management for well over 20 years. Progress has been very slow. In recent years, there's been some significant progress at the enterprise level. So within an organization, it can pretty effectively control identity, have a positive connection between a person or a device for that matter, and a positive identity. It gets harder when you cross across enterprise boundaries. Why? Because each enterprise controls the identity information and doesn't particularly want to share that with others. And so there are some federated approaches to identity management that have emerged that allow us to work across boundaries, but they've been very slow to be adopted.
Okay, so let me ask you this question then. We talk about boundaries. There's obviously boundaries between countries and so on. What's the international perspective that you would see in this whole subject of identity management?
Okay, so a good example of that is that AFCEA has been supporting NATO in Europe for 55 years, and we've done some workshops for them on identity management. So as difficult as it has been within the United States to work across government boundaries and with industry, add then the complexity in NATO of 28 member nations, each sovereign, each wanting to control their own information, and trying to figure out then how do you create trust relationships to share information and conduct transactions across those boundaries. And as you can imagine, it's much more difficult because you have the cultural differences, you have language issues, you have definitional issues on roles. So it's very difficult internationally, but it also impacts what we do domestically because we don't do anything anymore purely as a nation. Whether you're doing it in the commercial world of commerce, which is now international, when you go online and you're dealing with people commercially, very often you'll be dealing with people that are outside the United States.
I want to thank Tony Jimenez from MicroTech and Tim Lam from CS3 for taking the time to tell us about how they have achieved a level of success that so many of us have dreamed about. I also want to thank you, our viewers, for once again making Government Contracting Weekly a regular part of your learning experience. See you next Sunday.
You've been watching Government Contracting Weekly, sponsored each week by AOC Key Solutions Incorporated. Government Contracting Weekly is the only television program devoted exclusively to the competitive and dynamic world of government contracting. For additional information, comments, questions, or suggestions, please write us at governmentcontractingweekly.com.